I'd like to begin by thanking our 52 sponsors whose names are on the board and signage across the facility today. Without their support, we wouldn't be able to hold this annual meeting and provide the resources and the refreshments that will follow the business session and the speaker, Charlie Cook. I also want to just point out that we'll be joined today with some friends from the business community. I don't think they're here yet, but people who we've invited to join us today because we work so closely with these organizations. And there are many organizations across the state, but these are individuals who I believe are going to be joining us later in the day. Oz Griebel, the president of the Metro Alliance, Metro Hartford Alliance. Oz has been a close friend and a member of our board in his prior life as a president of a bank and as a high executive in a manufacturing firm in the state of Connecticut. Jennifer Jackson, the president of the Connecticut Hospital Association, we work closely with on a lot of healthcare policy initiatives, and who is a strong advocate for really trying to deliver quality healthcare services more efficiently and respectfully of the patients' rights. Bob Kemna, the president of the Insurance Association of Connecticut. Paul Timpanelli, the president and CEO of the Bridgeport Regional Business Council. They'll be here today, and I'm just pleased that they're taking time to be joining us. During the course of the day, we'll also be joined by a number of public officials, some legislators, and candidates for political office, including Linda McMahon and Lisa Wilson Foley, and I believe Dick Blumenthal and individuals like George Jepson and Kevin Sullivan, as well as others. And I hope that you will all join me in making them feel welcome and reaching out to them and engaging them in discussing some of the issues that are important for the state. I'd like to follow up on, on Ramona's remarks concerning the challenges we face to rejuvenate Connecticut's economy and our jobs climate. I think you all know that Connecticut has been a lagger in job creation over the last 20 years. But clearly there is a renewed interest in economic policy in our state, and I think a sincere effort to pursue a more pro-business agenda to improve the perception of Connecticut as a place to do business. However, there is also no consensus on what needs to be done. But at least there is a recognition that we can't continue to go in the direction that we've been following for the past several years. So there is an opportunity to educate policymakers about the needs for change and what we need to be able to encourage investments in our state. During the past few weeks, I've had the opportunity to attend a couple of conferences on economic policy, including the Governor Malloy's Jobs Summit and a regional meeting of the National Governors Association that discussed best economic development practices. Both meetings featured national experts and an exchange of thought-provoking ideas about pro-growth economic strategies. The experts talked about how to create a culture for entrepreneurs, what the state needs to do to attract the next gazelles, those next industries, the next Facebooks that are going to launch and create many job opportunities in a state. We have our own examples like Priceline.com down in Norwalk as a gazelle. Or how to unlock the intellectual property of our higher education research institutions like UConn and Yale to create new commercial ventures. Most of the newspaper accounts following the events focused on initiatives replicating North Carolina's Triangle Park, MIT and Carnegie Mellon's Centers for Entrepreneurship, and Connecticut's agreement to participate in Startup America, an effort to encourage small business growth throughout the country. They're all important, but personally I think the most important comments made at either of the meetings came from Michael Porter. Many of you know Michael Porter because he's done work in Connecticut. He is a noted author, a lecturer, and a professor at Harvard School of Business. He did work in Connecticut back in the mid-1990s to try and create an economic policy direction for the state of Connecticut. He's written extensively about the importance of nurturing industry clusters as a powerful tool for economic development and job growth. As I said, he did work in Connecticut in the mid-90s. He knows the state. He has a special feeling for the state, and he believes in the future of the state of Connecticut. He, in fact, is very optimistic about the future of Connecticut, not because of the direction of our policy leaders, but quite frankly because of the diversity of the economic-based industries in Connecticut and their track record for being world leaders and highly competitive in global marketplaces. The fact that they are successful, that they've invented and they continue to reinvent themselves, to lean their operations, to move forward and move upward as far as the value-added statements for delivering products and services from Connecticut. He's particularly excited about the potential for investments and job creation in certain industry sectors, most notably advanced manufacturing, financial services, insurance, digital media, and biosciences. These are the kinds of companies that he believes can lead Connecticut into the future. They can create products and services here which are sold on national and global markets and create wealth back in the state of Connecticut and create opportunities for the people of our state. But his most important point, I think, that he made during his presentation, and one which went largely ignored, but he kept coming back to it, was that regardless of your economic policy, whether you agree with his cluster initiatives or you want an economic policy built on entrepreneurship or chasing gazelles, regardless of what that policy is, it won't work. It will not create enough jobs at enough scale to change the vitality of your overall state economy unless your state is globally competitive. The foundation of being able to have a cost structure, taxes, health care, energy cost, to be able to have an efficient regulatory environment, to be able to have connections to global markets, and to have world-class public education that produces graduates who can lead productive lives and lead innovation are the critical components in which to have a vibrant economy. People tend to focus on the dressing around, but the foundation is a globally competitive economy. And he pointed to the fact that it's not a race. It's something that we have to pay attention to every day, because your competition is constantly trying to improve its competitive advantage. And it's not a race to the bottom, it's a race to the top. It's about creating a state business climate where high value-added products and services can be created and performed and exported beyond the state borders. So his perspective, when the reports from the Job Summit focused on, I think the headline was, Connecticut to replicate Triangle Park, North Carolina, a great success story. I think Michael Porter would point out that Triangle Park is in fact a great success story because of being able to bring Duke and North Carolina State and North Carolina Chapel Hill's campuses together to unlock their their intellectual property for commercial purposes, but it wouldn't happen. It wouldn't be as robust. It wouldn't be as strong if North Carolina wasn't considered an excellent place to do business. And that's something that I think we need to focus on, regardless of what the economic theory, development theory is for the state of Connecticut. Fundamentally, we have to work on the competitiveness of the state. Tomorrow, the General Assembly will meet in a special session on jobs, and Ramona has talked about that. personally, I believe what happens tomorrow is less important than what happens after tomorrow. As Ramona said, we need a change in attitude. And I think that change of attitude has to come from a change that in belief that businesses, employers throughout the state can be trusted to do the right thing. Our public policy officials and elected and our members of our legislature must trust that employers will do the right things for their customers, their employees, and their community. I personally believe it's in our self-interest to do that, and I think most employers in the state of Connecticut. If trust becomes the foundation for a policy discussion, we will see a very different tenor as far as where those policy discussions go. Unfortunately, for many periods of time, for many years, with a number of leaders, it has been a distrust and a feeling that we have to manage the private sector. We may even have to compete with the private sector. I'm not as naive as to believe that there are not businesses and business leaders in the community or business owners in the community who don't fail to meet their basic obligations. But I also believe that there are enough laws and regulations on the books to handle those situations. And therefore, I think it is appropriate that we look to a change in attitude. You know, Connecticut is not a state which should be shy about the level of corporate responsibility. We are a national leader when it comes to providing good wages and benefits. We are a national leader when it comes to providing safe workplaces. We are very much engaged in our local communities. There's a spirit of charitable giving and environmental stewardship. It's a great track record. It is the basis in which we should be able to work together with mutual respect to understand what are the barriers to growth, what are the opportunities that we can seize upon to grow those industries which Michael Porter has identified to ensure that the future of the state of Connecticut is better than we've experienced in the last couple of years. We owe it to not just the companies in the state who have invested here, we owe it to the people of the state of Connecticut, because we need to create opportunities so that they can take advantage of a quality of life and that our children can take advantage of the quality of life that we have so much enjoyed as part of living in this state. So hopefully tomorrow is the beginning and not the end. One of the things that I fear is that politicians have a big special session on something and check off, we've done that, so now we can move on to something else. And I think tomorrow is just the very first baby step in what hopefully will be a renewed relationship between our state government and our employer community. Now, CBIA is also, in addition to our public policy initiatives, we are committed to providing quality products and services, as Steve talked about, to our members. They are designed to try and help you be successful, whether they are services like our free consulting services to help you understand laws and regulations, or to be able to save some money on products that are offered, or whether they are to help you manage your human resource practices. Thousands of our members take advantage every year of those products and services. We know that we have to change as the world changes. We're engaging in a new 3-year business plan this year. We'll be dealing with looking at how the regulatory and legislative environments are going to change for those products and services. But we're committed to increasing the value of them, to delivering them efficiently, and to listening to you as to what you're looking for to help you run your businesses successfully. So next year at this time, I'm hopeful that I'll be able to talk to you about some of those changes, some of those new services and products that will be able to help our members be successful in Connecticut. In closing, I do want to again thank Ramona for her time, her commitment, the energy that she's brought, our stewardship of the Board of Directors. She's a great person to work with, and as I said, has a real commitment to our state. I also want to thank the other officers and directors, and most importantly, I want to thank the members of CBIA. One of our strengths, one of our strategic strengths, is not just the size of CBIA with our 10,000 members. It's the involvement of our members in our policy councils, in our ad hoc committees, and the like. Your willingness to help us shape policy directions and then to advocate on their behalf. It's a real pleasure, and actually Ramona and I were just talking at the table about what a nice group of people are involved in the association, and we do really appreciate your support. And I do also want to echo Ramona. I have a great staff of people that I work with. You know, Joe Brennan and Phil and Phil Vogel and Steve Marcoux are probably people that many of you see, but also the staff at the Capitol, the people who answer the phone call to come in, the people who help with the insurance changes and the like. They're all committed. They have, you know, it's not always an easy job. It's not a job that sometimes it's a very difficult job where you're defending and being pressed on issues, but it's one where I think we all take heart because we believe in the mission of CBIA, which is to create a competitive business climate in the state of Connecticut in which companies like yours are willing to make investments to grow and create opportunities. It is fundamentally the most important thing we can do in order to give people the opportunity to have enjoyable, productive lives. Because without a vibrant private sector, there's no resources in which to provide those opportunities. So we recognize the importance of the mission, and we take pleasure in being able to in a small part, at least try and address these issues. So thank you for your support, and with that, I'll turn it back to Ramona.